Today we're going to talk about one of the most influential and most discussed theories in psychology, Sigmund Freud's psychoanalytic theory. We'll be exploring how Freud explained personality, how the mind is structured, how unconscious processes influence behavior, and how defense mechanisms help people cope with stress. And honestly, this topic is very important in nursing because patients do not always behave based on logic alone. A lot of behavior is influenced by unconscious thoughts, emotions, and past experiences. Welcome back to AfroNurse Academy. In our last lesson, we explored human growth and development, where we looked at how individuals change across different stages of life. Now today, we are going deeper into why people behave the way they do, even when they themselves may not fully understand it. So let me quickly guide you through what we'll cover today so everything feels easy to follow. We'll start by understanding what personality means in simple terms. Then we'll move into Freud's main idea about the unconscious mind. After that, we'll break personality into three parts: the id, ego, and superego. Then we'll talk about levels of consciousness. And finally, we'll explore defense mechanisms and psychosexual stages of development. And throughout the lesson, we'll connect everything to real nursing situations so you can see how these ideas show up in clinical practice. Here at AfroNurse Academy, we make psychology simple, practical, and relevant to healthcare.
Alright, let's start from the basics. Personality refers to the consistent patterns of thinking, feeling, and behaving that make a person unique. In simple terms, personality is what makes you, you, and it influences how you respond to people, situations, and stress. For example, some people are calm under pressure, while others become anxious or reactive. Now let's talk about Freud's central idea. Freud believed that a large part of human behavior is influenced by the unconscious mind. The unconscious mind is the part of the mind that contains thoughts, memories, desires, and feelings that a person is not currently aware of. But even though people are not aware of it, it still influences behavior. Now think about that for a moment. Have you ever reacted emotionally to something and later thought, why did I respond like that? That is exactly the kind of behavior Freud was trying to explain. Let's look at an example. This is for educational purposes only. A patient may become extremely anxious in a hospital setting without clearly knowing why. Later, it may be discovered that they had a traumatic childhood experience in a hospital. That past experience may be stored in the unconscious mind and still influence present behavior. Some people are outgoing, while others are quiet and reserved. Freud believed that personality is not random. He believed it is shaped by deep internal forces, many of which operate outside conscious awareness.
Now, Freud explained personality using three components. You can think of these as three different voices inside the mind. Firstly, the id. The id is the most basic part of personality. It is present from birth and operates on the pleasure principle, meaning it seeks immediate satisfaction without considering consequences. So the id is that impulsive voice that says, I want it now. Secondly, the ego. The ego develops as a person grows and operates on the reality principle. It tries to balance desires with what is practical and socially acceptable. So the ego is the rational part that says, let's think before we act. Then finally, the superego. The superego represents morality, conscience, and internalized social rules. It is the voice that says, this is right, or this is wrong. Now let's make it practical. Let's say a student nurse feels tired during clinical placement. The id says, skip and rest. The superego says, you must be responsible and attend. And the ego says, go, but manage your energy properly. That internal conflict is exactly what Freud described.
Now let's talk about how Freud divided the mind. Firstly, the conscious mind. This includes everything you are aware of right now, your current thoughts and surroundings. Secondly, the preconscious mind. This includes information you are not currently thinking about but can easily recall, like your phone number. Then, the unconscious mind. This is the deepest level, containing memories, fears, and desires that are not easily accessible, but still influence behavior. Let's look at an example. This is for educational purposes only. A patient may feel intense fear during injections without understanding why, because a past painful experience is stored in the unconscious mind. That unconscious influence affects current behavior. Now let's talk about defense mechanisms. Defense mechanisms are unconscious psychological strategies used to reduce anxiety and protect the mind from emotional distress. Firstly, denial. Denial is refusing to accept reality. For example, a patient diagnosed with a serious illness may say, "The test is wrong, I am fine." Secondly, regression. Regression is returning to earlier behaviors during stress. For example, a hospitalized child may begin sucking their thumb again. Thirdly, projection. Projection is when someone attributes their own feelings to others. For example, an anxious patient may accuse a nurse of being unfriendly. Fourth, displacement. Displacement is shifting emotions from the original source to a safer target. For example, a frustrated patient may shout at a nurse instead of expressing anger about the diagnosis. Fifth, repression. Repression is when painful memories are pushed out of conscious awareness but still influence behavior. Let's look at an example. This is for educational purposes only. A patient refusing to accept an HIV diagnosis may be experiencing denial as a defense mechanism. As a nurse, recognizing this helps you respond with patience and empathy instead of confrontation.
Now, Freud also proposed that personality develops through stages in childhood. Firstly, the oral stage, where pleasure is centered around the mouth, such as feeding and sucking. Secondly, the anal stage, which focuses on toilet training and control. Thirdly, the phallic stage, where children become aware of gender differences. Fourth is the latency stage, where sexual energy is relatively dormant and focus shifts to learning and social development. Finally, the genital stage, which begins in puberty and continues into adulthood, focusing on mature relationships. Freud believed that unresolved conflicts in any of these stages could lead to fixation, which may influence adult personality. Let's look at an example. This is for educational purposes only. An adult who is overly dependent on others may be linked to unresolved issues in the oral stage. This is not used for diagnosis in nursing, but it helps in understanding behavior patterns. Now, let's bring everything together. Freud's theory helps nurses understand that behavior is not always conscious or logical. Patients may appear resistant, anxious, or aggressive, but underlying unconscious processes or past experiences may be influencing them. Instead of reacting to behavior on the surface, nurses learn to look deeper. Is the patient fearful? Is there past trauma? Is anxiety influencing their response? This approach improves communication, empathy, and patient care. Here at AfroNurse Academy, this is exactly the kind of thinking that builds strong clinical judgment. So today, we've explored Sigmund Freud's psychoanalytic theory, including the unconscious mind, the structure of personality, levels of consciousness, defense mechanisms, and psychosexual stages of development. This content is for educational purposes only and does not replace professional medical training. If you found this helpful, like the video, subscribe to AfroNurse Academy, and share it with your classmates. In our next course series, we'll continue building your understanding of psychology and nursing practice. Thank you for learning with AfroNurse Academy, and keep going.